We wanted to ask you, our subscribers, what you would like to see if we do go live on YouTube. It's a wet one outside, so we're in the tunnel today. It's Thursday, harvest day, in preparation for our main harvest and deliveries tomorrow. We've also got a tour this Saturday. We offer tours every second Saturday of the month, walking people all around the market garden and all the permaculture design systems we have here on the farm. So we're also kind of zhuzhing the place up a bit for that. We've got my mum in the tunnel here, helping clean up the station, the workstation. And also doing some weeding. We're all been outside, but we've just been forced back into the tunnel just now with the rain. So Rosa's just here at the moment picking French beans, the dwarf French beans.
First harvest?
Yeah, first harvest of these ones are looking great. Yeah. How's it going? How are they picking?
They're picking well, they taste well.
Yeah.
Taste good.
Good. Alright, great.
One thing that seems to be quite good about these as opposed to another variety is that they grow. The beans seem to grow mostly above the leaves, so you can see them more easily. So obviously it's a green bean, so not that easy to see, but as you can see here, they're kind of growing above most of the foliage, whereas normally I'm kind of rooting around underneath. So I'd say pretty good variety to remember.
Great.
Don't actually remember the name, and I keep saying remember.
Something like Rita or Rima or
dwarf French Maxi or something.
Maxi. That's it, Maxi.
We've got a serious pea and bean box today.
We've got a serious box, I would say, today.
I know, it's pretty massive. Peas, French beans, broad beans, tomatoes, courgette, kohlrabi, turnip, salad.
And that's just the things that we have to harvest. There are actually things sitting in the garden that we could harvest, but they're okay sort of just sitting there waiting, like cabbages and garlic and onions, beetroot. This is going to be a full-on tapping off veg box this week.
Looks like the flowers, so kind of blends in.
That is the lesser known
Bean
French
moth.
bean moth.
The Maxi moth. Oh, is that a poo? No. Do moths poo?
I'm sure. Everything poos, right? Don't they? Zoologists, you should know that.
Very still. Is it dead?
We're just scared shitless.
The thing about a very bean and pea intense box is that it's going to take a really long time to pick everything. They're one of the slowest things to pick. I've always found that, you know. It's one of those things that keeps producing and it just takes ages to pick them.
Morris just checking in on your quality of picking there. Yep, that's a good one. Yep, good. Well done. Pick well. Yep, that one. Yep,
Yeah?
That's good. Yep, okay.
Loves a bean.
All good here.
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh yes, just take a rest.
Disgusting.
Disgustingly cute.
Like, huh? You're a farm cat.
Grow up.
Farm cat. Go catch something. So that's a break in the weather. Sun's come back out again. And so Rosa has exchanged French beans for peas.
Dead peas.
Dead peas. This is the Blauschocker variety that we've mentioned quite a bit. And it was quite interesting. We've been referring to this as a Mange 2. We were aiming to mostly pick as Mange 2 and leave some to mature into pea pods, because when we were shopping for this seed we were definitely sold on the fact that the seed was advertised as a dual purpose, if not even tri-purpose pea, that you could eat it in its young stages as a mange 2, that you could let it swell into a garden pea, and then you could even dry it and have it as a dried pea. When we first tasted the mange 2, the sort of immature pods, we were really disappointed. They were quite bitter, fibrous, and some of our customers even agreed on that one. And then we had a bit of feedback from a subscriber who happens to be from Holland, and I think this is a Dutch variety, and said this is definitely not a mange 2. In fact, it's mostly used for dried peas. And a friend of ours who's a farmer nearby, who is also Dutch, kind of referred to it as more of a field pea. So a bit annoying really. We decided this wasn't the best of choices. It was a beautiful colour, very easy to pick because of the fact that you can see it standing out from the foliage, so it's an easy picker. But flavour wise, and for me, tenderness wise, it's not a great one. And you can see that the vines, the plant of the pea aren't looking great, very yellowed, and we're not sure what this is. You know, we're not completely clued up on every single plant disease that's out there. It could just be aging. It could be just coming now that we've let the peas swell and the plant has decided it's got to its maximum height and produced its maximum amount of flowers. Yes?
Interestingly though, all these ones here are the same age and green here.
Okay.
I just feel like it's fungal from the way it looks, and I don't know why these ones would be green, but they're the ones that have been hidden under these broad beans that they've attached to. The bit of reading I did, though it was quite a brief amount of reading, it did seem to say that the most of the cause of yellowing of peas and beans was to do with the fungal infection.
Okay.
And that there were just different fungi, that cause slightly different styles of yellowing.
So if it is a fungal disease on the purple pea here, we've also got chocolate spot on our broad beans. We had that last year, didn't really cause a problem with the crop. It just doesn't look very pretty on the plants. You can see here how quite a few of the leaves have this chocolate, this brown spot all over them. But the pods themselves have been great. We're getting a great crop off of these. It doesn't cause a problem with the actual pea or bean. Okay, here's the younger succession of the Blauwschokker pea, and you can see on the lower sections here it's also yellowing. I feel like I have seen this before on mange 2, but in fact I used to, when I was growing these in Portugal, Rosa, we used to lose them quite easily to this yellowing. They used to and then end up going kind of crispy and end up just dying.
I read about it. There was one type of fungal disease that if you see the yellowing begin at the bottom, I guess it's maybe soil borne or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that we've had such a wet season has got its benefits, but also you're going to have probably more fungi.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's someone out there in YouTube land, other market gardeners, other gardeners who might be able to tell us what that is. So please leave a comment in the box below if you think you know what the yellowing is. Maybe it'll give us some homework to do over winter, sit and read about vegetable fungal diseases. Nice. Anyway, I better do some picking instead of wandering around talking to Rosa and putting her off her job. Look at these fabulous runner beans. I don't know if you remember a few videos back, well actually more than a few videos back, in early June we had a surprise frost and we just planted these guys out and they got really knocked back by the frost. We ended up replanting a few but leaving the rest, and they've really caught up again and are towering above me here, and I think they've even got little beans on them somewhere. Yeah, here we go, check these out. Nice little runner beans. Yeah, beans at this time of year, or beans peas. We've got French beans, runner beans, broad beans, mange 2. We got French beans, runner beans!
Broad beans, mange 2, please, but we don't have mange 2 because
no mange 2. Next year we will not be planting the purple variety Blauwschokker, and we'll be going.
We might plant a purple variety.
Okay, well if we could find a purple variety of mange 2 that's sweet and crispy and tender, Tell us about it, folks. Let us know if you've been experimenting with peas. Oh, admit it. Have you been experimenting with peas? Have you been bringing peas into your life? Let us know if you know any purple varieties of Monge 2 that are sweet and crispy. Give us a shout and maybe we'll trial them next year. Oh, right, that's the rain coming back on a little bit. You can see the Noth hill behind me, shrouded in mist. So we're gonna head back into the polytunnel. I think I'm gonna pick the courgettes. Rosa will carry on with the French beans. It's nice to be out in this sun and rain though. Hi.
I've been thinking about the flavour of these because I've been tasting a few, as usual. I'd say they're more close to a soybean. You know, that kind of pea bean, they're a bit more meaty than a pea and a little bit less sweet.
I'm not sure I've ever eaten a soybean.
Ah, edamame?
No, they don't make it up this far to Rhiney.
Ooh!
Oh, how did that happen?
Yeah, not that sweet.
No.
They're nice though. They don't have to be sweet to be tasty.
I heard it there, folks. You don't have to be sweet to be tasty. Right, what's next? So how have you been finding the weeding today, Mum?
Hot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's better being in here out of the wet. So I think I've pretty much done quite a good job.
Thank you.
Need to sharpen this again, I think. Yeah, I was just taking the mud off because I'm a bit naughty because I tend to use the point to dig in to get the bottom, to get into the dock roots a bit, to try and cut them off a bit below the surface of the ground so that hopefully they don't grow quite as quickly again. But it's a brilliant tool, I like it, together with the pruning knife.
How you doing, folks? We're just having a coffee break here in the polytunnel after lunch. Rosa's just harvesting some of the tomatoes for tomorrow's box. And so we thought we'd take this opportunity to have a chat with you, our subscribers, and say that we're thinking about going live for the first time. As a lot of you know, we went over the 1,000 subscribers mark a couple of weeks back. That enables us to be able to use the live feature here on YouTube. So really, we wanted to just ask a few things. We wanted to speak to our fellow YouTube creators, fellow homesteaders who make YouTube videos, our peers, and say, in your opinion, what's the best way to go live on YouTube? Do we need to factor in the time? Is there a better time that we should do it? Bear in mind we're here in the UK. We'd love to hear any advice from anyone who's been doing lives for some time. But also to our subscribers, you know, we want to know, is there anything that you would like to chat about if you join us for a live chat? Would you like to know anything about what we do here at Noth Farm? We often get questions on our Facebook page or our Instagram page, and now we're starting to get them here in the comments of our YouTube videos, asking us all about what we do, from what tools we use to what techniques we have to combat this or that pest. We're getting more and more used to people asking us questions, so maybe in the comments below you can always put some questions in that you would like to have asked if we go live, or help us think of some subjects, help us think of some topics that we could always have a chat about. Otherwise it might just be me and Rosa just kicking back in our living room, and you guys can join us for that. So we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to get some feedback on just how you think we should do a live video and see what would make a live broadcast here from Noth Farm interesting for you.
So most of these ones that I'm picking right now look a little bit unripe, because they are. But I found that for the number of people that we're picking for, and for the fact that actually our tomatoes have had a bit of a hard time, as you can probably see behind me, in terms of all the disease and pests that they've had, just to make sure we get enough, just having to constantly pick as many as possible from the plant, because if I leave them to get red, we just don't have quite enough perfectly ripe ones to split between all of our members. But actually, a positive is, God, there's so many midges. But a positive is they ripen up really well after being picked from the plant. And I know that the whole thing of vine ripened tomatoes full of flavour, etc., etc. Actually, I found that when I pick the red ones off the plant, they're more likely to be a little bit mealy. Whereas when I pick them when they're, some of these are a little bit too unripe, but when I pick them in the mid-range and lay them in a cardboard box like this, and I stack the boxes, after just a few days they're a beautiful red colour, and they seem to be less likely to be mealy. So it's, for us, that's working really well. Maybe something to do with our climate or the variety or something. That's what's doing well for us, and we have managed to put tomatoes in the box last week, and I think we will again this week. And just a quick report on the two varieties. This quite kind of standard, you know, plain looking tomato here is from the Aurora bush. It's called the Aurora very large bush tomato, and I've talked about this a reasonable amount. I really like it because you get very large tomatoes from it, which are quite hard to get to ripen up here in northeast Scotland. But very large bush is definitely, well, it lives up to its name. And I spent a whole day trying to tame them, and that is quite difficult. Basically, they're a bush tomato, so they're not going to be trained up these ropes here, and so they're actually quite difficult to manage, really, on the scale that we've attempted to do them this year and the density we've planted them. But they've seemed to have not had the disease that the Latar here, or Latar, had. The Latar, you have to remember, actually just look quite different to a standard tomato. So they do look bad, but they also just look weird because they are a bit weird. But they produce such beautiful tomatoes. You know, these kind of lovely, I like this kind of, you know, the like a ribbed kind of stripy, beautiful tomatoes. And some of them have been getting really quite big. None in this harvest right now, but some of them have been getting large enough to look like one of those lovely, you know, when you get those big beef tomatoes in Italy or something from the market. So it's our kind of small attempt at Italy in northeast Scotland.
So behind me here are some tomatoes that we've planted as a kind of house tomato bed. It's a little bit of a mixture of varieties. We've got some behind me which I think are kind of dark, kind of chocolate black colour, and these are some of the Aurora bush tomato. And you can see we've got this great understory of calendula, of marigold, and these came up. These were self-seeded marigolds from some marigolds that we had in here last year. And we basically just planted the tomatoes in the middle of the calendula, and all the tomatoes in this tunnel have been under attack from greenfly this year. These ones did get some greenfly, but they really didn't get it as bad as the large planting over here. And I guess it could just be down to the fact that we haven't got a huge amount of tomatoes in this bed, so the pest isn't spreading so much. But we really do think that the companion planting of these marigolds, and we've got some chamomile in here as well. We really think it's made a difference, and I think we'll try this again next year. So I think the technique would be just to broadcast some calendula seed in early spring, let that germinate whilst your tomato plants are growing in pots. And then when you want to set your tomato plants in, just cutting out some of the calendula where you want to plant your tomato and set it in. And I think really you just hack back the calendula if they're getting a little bit too big for the tomatoes. You can see these are incredibly healthy.
Okay, so just like James was saying with the calendula and the tomatoes over there, we think that this kind of companion planting worked pretty well. It's actually been harvested, so it looks a little bit of a mess right now, but the basil was growing beautifully around these early jalapenos that we planted a long time ago, and I, to be honest, lost a little bit of faith in, but that was wrong of me because they are now flowering, which is very nice. Beautiful little flowers with kind of blue centers. Yeah, I'd be really excited if we do get some chilies, because I'd like to put something a bit spicy in the box.
Alright folks, that's pretty much the end of the day for us here. Rosa's done a mammoth job at picking all the purple peas. I've just been picking some turnips up there behind me. The weather's starting to get pretty cold and we've kind of had enough of being out in the rain for today, so I think we're gonna just finish up. I've got to just quickly pick some kohlrabi. This will be the first time we've harvested from this sowing of kohlrabi. So I'll be picking enough just to chuck in the box for tomorrow. I've just got to take down the box of turnips that I was harvesting and give them a quick wash at the washing station. Alright, that's the turnips washed. Still got to weigh them and portion them up for tomorrow, but just grabbing another box and we'll head out and we'll get the kohlrabi now. Ooh, a bit windy. Chilly. So I'm just making sure that we've actually got enough to harvest. It's the first thing we always do. It's quite easy to look at a bed and think that you've seen enough mature veg or enough leaf to cut. And we just got to count them up and make sure that there's, with this it's just a unit per person, you know, a kohlrabi per person, so we just need to make sure that we've got enough for tomorrow's boxes and then I'll get cutting. The strange looking one is kohlrabi. Alright folks, I think I'm coming to the end of my time here in the garden today. I'm almost finished harvesting the kohlrabi. Just going to pick the last few, take them down to the weighing station and portion them up and put them in the boxes ready for tomorrow. I'll just wrap up here, but as always I hope you've enjoyed the vlog today. It's just another little insight into our market garden and small farm here in northeast Scotland. If you like what you saw, please give the video a like, share it around your social media platforms, and if you just joined us today for the first time, please subscribe. It'll be great to have you along for the rest of the season that's still ahead of us. So I hope everyone's well out in YouTube land. Until next time, we'll catch you later.